Good morning, everyone. This is Michele Hughes from Ageless and Timeless. Today, I have a guest that I've been talking to. Actually, very accidentally learned about her and her company at RadFest in last September, and was so excited to know about their company and what they do. So I'm going to introduce you to Jess MacNaughton, who is the CEO of C60. And their website, just everybody knows, is shopc60.com. Is that right, Jess?
C60 Power,
Oh,
and we manufacture products with the molecule carbon-60,
right,
C60. So yeah, C60 Power, and you've got the website at shopc60.com.
right. And so, what is the power mean in the title?
What does the power mean? Well, Michele, what we do is we help people with their cellular energy. And what C60 does is it works at the cellular level to lift the oxidative burden, basically neutralizes oxidative stress. And the way that C60 supports people is through energy and mental clarity. And so our big mission on the planet is to help people with supporting them with that cellular energy so they can have energy to go out and do what their big mission is on the planet. Why did God put you on this planet? Why are you here today? We're providing the cellular energy and support to give you that boost, that momentum to go do what your purpose is on the planet. So the power is about your energy, your mental clarity, but it's also about your personal power.
That's beautiful. Well, you have a backstory, so why don't you start by telling us how you got to be a part of all of this beautiful mission?
Um, it's my background it is different than what you would expect for someone manufacturing products containing carbon-60. I had a long career in commercial real estate. And in 2017, I was going through a burnout health-related challenge. And around that same time, my path crossed with Ken Swartz, who's my business partner. He is our former chief science officer. Today, he is Chairman Emeritus and co-founder with me, but our paths crossed, and Ken had been doing some research on C60 specifically because he was wanting to bring forward a more efficient form of nuclear fusion, and he wanted to protect himself from radiation exposure. And he had heard about C60 and some tests that had been done with some animals when it was first discovered, where they gave rats extreme doses of radiation, and then a group of rats got no C60. And what ended up happening was the rats that had C60 lived, and the other rats died. And Ken was able to go down his path and do his research and prove that this research was successful, and his entire team lived. And through that process, what ended up happening next was after about 7-8 months of use, Ken's dry macular degeneration, he went to his doctor, it was gone, and his doctor was shocked, and the only thing he had been doing was using C60. And Ken had a research associate who had wet macular degeneration at the time, and he was at risk of going blind. He made some lifestyle choices and changes, and this gentleman, within 1.5 years, he went back to his doctor and his wet macular degeneration had gone away. So Ken shared this information with me, and I didn't know what it was. I was very skeptical, and I quite frankly, I didn't understand it. But he kept on reminding me, just try it, let's see what happens. And I haven't had a vision event, but what happened for me was different. My hair started to grow. I had very short hair, like a bob haircut, most of my 20s and 30s, because I couldn't get my hair to grow. My hair started to grow. And I have really bad allergies. We were both living in Colorado at the time, and I'm allergic to most of the grasses and trees there. And love to hike and bike and ski. And I was living there for all the reasons a lot of people live in Colorado. But I was running around always, Michele, with like a Kleenex under my nose, and it was embarrassing. I could be at meetings with a client or something, and I would have a drink or a bite of some food. My nose would start running, and it was really embarrassing. But I noticed after about a few months, I wasn't using Kleenex anymore. And I was like, that's interesting. And then I noticed that my really intense, painful PMS symptoms, where if I'd had the luxury of time to stay in bed for 1 day a month, which I never had that luxury of time, I could just be doubled over in pain. But then I noticed after about 6 months that my periods would kind of come and go, and I was not experiencing any intense pain. So those were some of the initial things that started to wake me up. And then I noticed my bandwidth was expanding. I just felt like I could process information better, faster. And I would expand it, I would describe it as it feels like your synapses are firing appropriately. Like on the days when you're in the flow and stress is coming at you, life is coming at you, and you're just able to like deal with whatever lands on your plate. Like those were some of the things that started to happen for me. And all of those experiences occurred within about 6 months of trying it kind of intermittently. After that, I was like, all right, I'm going to take this a little bit more seriously. And I started incorporating it into my morning routine. And it's very simple. You just put a spoonful of C60 into your coffee in the morning. And I'm a big coffee fan. So once I figured out how to work it into my morning routine, I started to notice the benefits. And it's just kind of grown from there. So that was back in 2017, 2018, and the rest is kind of history. But Ken and I decided to join forces around that time, and we've been working to help get out the good word about C60 to the masses ever since.
Well, you and I both have the same background. I'm a real estate developer as well, although residential. And I also lived in Aspen for about 10 years, even though I always kept my home here in the Bay Area. But Aspen was one of the big areas that I developed 6 major homes. So congratulations, because we both made that transition from being in an entrepreneur. Well, I was in an entrepreneur because I started my own company. I don't know if you were with a firm. Were you with a firm in commercial real estate?
Yeah, I was with several, and I also had entrepreneurial ventures at the same time. So this is my 4th entrepreneurial adventure, in addition to, doing big partnerships and collaborations in that space as well.
Gosh, we're like twins. That's amazing.
We're like sisters from another mother.
Exactly. And I always say that. I have a lot of male friends, and I always say brother from another mother. That one
Yep.
better, but yeah. So what do you think Ken saw in you that made him want you to join him as his business partner?
Oh, well, that's a fun question. Ken, that's a good question. The reality is my background is, building, development, creation, leading teams, getting big, hard, impossible things done, and lots of experience with marketing and all that. So
Plus the entrepreneurial. You've started things from scratch.
Yeah.
And he was at the very beginning. I've watched, I met Ken at RadFest and again at A4M. So I've had the pleasure of chatting with him, and he's quite engaging for a scientist. He's actually pretty articulate, and I've watched him on a few podcasts as well. So I think, he obviously has a broader business sense than a lot of scientists might have. Do you agree?
Good instincts.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, and he can explain things in a layman's terms. He doesn't get all esoteric, so that's good. Well, that's really a great backstory. And so 2017 you joined C60. At that point, where was the company in its development?
Inception, the startup.
It was a startup. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So did you go get funding? And
no, we're self-funded. It's just Ken and I.
Oh, okay. So you gave up your real estate career to do this full time then at that time?
It took a little while. It took a little while. I started doing it full time in 2018.
European Wellness, founded by the iconic and widely published Professor Dr. Michael Chan, is the world leader in stem cell and peptide therapy, with 26 medical and aesthetic spa locations primarily in Europe and Asia. Their website, www.europeanwellness.com, details the wide range of wellness products that can be ordered using the Ageless code for a 10% discount. They will also offer our viewers discounts on medical and cosmetic services and products if they choose to visit the clinics. I have firsthand experience using their wide range of science-based stem cell and peptide products and am now a loyal customer. Go to their website, www.europeanwellness.com, for more information about this exciting company. Okay, so just going back to the history of C60. So let's let our viewers know what exactly is C60.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Gave a little preface of that. Oh, thank you for doing that. Okay,
So I've got your molecule. I also have it on the backdrop here behind me. But what C60 is, it's a molecule of carbon. And it was discovered in the mid-80s by a group of scientists out of Rice University. And they were actually trying to solve a question that had to do with the stars, and they found C60 existing in the atmosphere of large red stars. It's kind of a far out story.
Yeah.
And what in the mid 90s, these scientists actually won a Nobel Prize for their discovery of C60. And what they were able to figure out is, and the way that it's been characterized today, is that C60 is the most powerful antioxidant ever discovered. It's powerful and it's unique because of its unique structure. It's comprised of 60 atoms of carbon, and as you can see, it looks like a cage-like soccer ball. Mm-hmm. C60 is a free radical sponge. It operates in a way where it can go in and neutralize oxidative stress and toxic free radicals. Those are the things that contribute to basically your body aging. You can think about it when your body is rusting. Right. I don't know about you, Michelle. I'm when I look at my skin, I'm pretty fair skinned, and when I was younger, I was bad. I spent a lot of time in the sun. And so I have a fair amount of oxidative stress that's visible, later in life, because I was spending too much time trying to be much darker than like my natural body would prefer. But that's oxidative stress. But what C60 does is it works at the cellular level to neutralize that and turns it back into water in the body at the cellular level. And then it can reset itself again and again and again. That's what's really unique about it. So it's this massive free radical sponge. And the thing that most people notice within about 30 days of daily use is an increase in energy and mental clarity. Mm-hmm. And so that's really great, because a lot of us, as we age, we experience, usually over the age of 40, people start to notice the effects of their body producing less natural antioxidants. Mm-hmm. And that can show up as a random ache and pain, visible signs of aging, all sorts of disease states can get kicked up because of too much oxidative stress, and that contributes to inflammation. So C60 helps neutralize it, helps keep the inflammation at a balanced level, healthy, so it's not having an overreaction. And the same with the immune system. It helps the immune system stay balanced, so you're not having an overreaction. So earlier in the conversation, I mentioned that one of the first things I noticed was a change in my response to allergies. Mm-hmm. And C60 helps keep that histamine reaction balanced. Mm-hmm. So it's not to say that I won't have, that I won't sneeze, or that my eyes won't be red some days if there's a bunch of environmental stuff kicked up. But I'm not, my body's not having an overreaction to it. I'm not going through a box of Kleenexes in 3 hours. I might blow my nose once and then I'm done. So it really keeps things at the cellular level balanced. And you can think about it, inside the cell, there is the mitochondria, which is a cell inside our cells. And that's the ATP. You probably remember from 8th grade science, the powerhouse of the cell. But C60, you can think about it, kind of like sweeps that out. And so it gets the junk out, just naturally kind of sweeps it out. And then the body can do what it's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Naturally heal itself. You've got to do all the other good things with to support C60. So healthy lifestyle choices, which I'm sure you talk about all the time, prioritizing your sleep, mm-hmm. getting movement every day, some kind of joyful movement with your body, drinking clean water, prioritizing eating whole clean foods, organic when you can, and really just being considerate of like the toxins in your life, whether it be toxic people or toxins, that are all around us all the time, but choosing products and, supplements that are as clean and free of those heavy chemicals as possible is really important.
So you are raising so many questions. So let me ask a few questions because I want to. They're burning me here. I want everybody to know that mitochondria are the basically the source of your health. The health of your cells is the health of your body, and the ATP, as you just mentioned, are basically the energy centers of the mitochondria. So the ATP produces the energy. It's adenine triphosphate, something or other, right? If you want to go into the science, but ATP is good enough. So once the C60 is like the sponge and comes into those mitochondria, how does the C60 then eliminate the toxicity that they are sponging and getting eliminating from your body? What's the process of the C60 now taking and basically detoxing you from all of that toxicity they just eliminated from the cells?
He sucks it up into the C60 molecule, and it neutralizes it and turns it back into a water byproduct, and then it can reset itself again and again.
Does that mean that you're going to use the restroom more when you're taking C60 because you're eliminating the water?
Really good question. I really appreciate like the direction that you went with that. C60 can have certainly have a detoxifying effect. So it would be appropriate when you're first starting and throughout your journey, we recommend drinking ample water. Your body always wants to flush out toxins.
Right.
So, being hydrated with clean water is a really critical component to a healthy body. We're
Right.
all mostly water. So you could see that. I don't know if we've ever been on the receiving end of someone saying I'm peeing a lot more. I in all these years I haven't heard that, but it's certainly possible. But I would recommend 100% that you do increase your water intake, taking it or even not taking it. That drinking a lot of water is important to flush out the toxins out of our system.
So is there a difference between the brain and nerve cells, which of course are about how many, 2 million in our bodies of brain and nerve cells, and the rest of the, let's say, 5,000 cells that are in our body? In other words, is there a difference in how C60 affects the brain and nerve cells versus the rest of the body, like the heart cells or the lung cells or something like that? Is there any kind of a method of elimination that differs between those two?
C60 is that it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So most antioxidants don't. So the nice thing about C60 is that it's not going to interact or respond negatively to any of the other supplements or vitamins or medications that you're taking. But it's important to take it first thing in the morning because it's going to cross the blood-brain barrier. It's going to deliver the antioxidant support to the brain, to your cells. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go into like Ken's a biogeochemist. If you want to go into a chemistry conversation, like he's better for that. But what I can tell you is that it's important to take it in the morning, take it before your other supplements so it can help deliver those as well. And in terms of there's a tremendous amount of mitochondria in your brain. And because it's crossing the blood-brain barrier, you're going to get the benefit from that. But it's going to benefit the mitochondria throughout your body. The one thing I will mention is if you're taking blood thinners, like if you buy our products, you'll see a notice on the box about if you're taking blood thinners, consult your doctor. That's only because you might not need blood thinners after a while. C60 may support balancing the blood. And so if you happen to be on blood thinners and you take it, you just would want to get tested more frequently because you might not need that medication at some point in time. But other than that, there's no other medications or supplements that it would interact with.
contraindicated. That was
Mhm.
another question. So good. I'm glad you said that. So in the C60 molecule, how does it interact with glutathione or other antioxidants?
So C60 activates pregnenolone, the precursor molecule to all the hormones. So, and it's also an SOD mimic. So it can be really supportive. You can get a nice, gentle, natural lift because it can do the antioxidant action of SOD. And so then your glutathione can actually, work a little bit more efficiently. And depending on, what type of genetic makeup you have. Like I have a glutathione processing issue. I need extra support with SOD. So it's very convenient that I have access to ample C60 because it's very beneficial for me. If you haven't done that testing, you might not know. But it will help support a gentle natural lifting of your other hormones.
Well, here again, we're twins because I did the what do you call it? The DNA company's 360 test, and I know Ken did it too because he mentioned that to me. So yeah, I have the same issue. That I'm a slow methylator, and I'm compromised with glutathione. So I have to always know that I need to stimulate the glutathione production, and so the C60 helps to facilitate that process. So that's another similarity that we have. It's not easy when you do everything else right, your diet, your
Yeah, I apologize. I'm getting a little.
yeah, it just needs that. But remember too that I always tell people this, that the DNA company's test is an epigenetics functional DNA test. So that means that you're not stuck with what they produce in their 60-page report, that is the blueprint for who you are and what your parents gave you. But that doesn't mean that you have to be stuck with that. You can do other things epigenetically, which means lifestyle, that can affect that. So that sounds like you and I are doing the exact same thing. So tell me what those three men that won the Nobel Prize from Rice University, whatever happened to them? Did they take the product? Because I remember when I read about C60 in the beginning, it was not meant for humans, or at least they didn't know that. It was more batteries and ink and tires and
So the original thought when they first discovered it, they thought that there might be an application for industrial purposes. The
right.
first thought could be like, well, maybe we can put it in solar panels and it could improve the ability of solar panels. And so as they started improve the functionality of them, as they wanted to experiment with it, the first thing is it safe for humans? At what level is it toxic? Because if you're going to experiment with it, you're going to have to figure that out. And so what they discovered using some Wistar rats, which are test animals, they're genetically modified to they have a very short lifespan because they're just used for testing purposes. What they found was at no level was C60 toxic. Like they gave these rats insane doses and they found no toxicity. That was surprising. In another very famous test, they found out that C60 doubled the lifespan of the test animals. These animals are designed to basically, get cancers and tumors and die.
Mm-hmm.
They literally had to kill the rats to publish the study because the rats kept on living so long.
Right.
So they were very surprised. The age-related tumors and the other things were gone with C60. So that was really surprising. They ended up accelerating the what I believe they ended up accelerating the delivery of the Nobel Prize because the gentlemen were so old. So that was 1996. We're
Right.
now, almost,
20.
20 years later.
Right.
So, today, C60 has been consumed by humans since about 2015.
Mm.
And there's a tremendous amount of animal studies and some human studies that have been done. One of the things that I think is really exciting about C60 as it relates to you, Michele, and your audience, and your passion about being ageless and timeless,
Mhm.
is that in human studies, C60, when applied topically with some women in Japan, has been proven to lessen the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. I think this is really exciting for everybody who's in our space, who is concerned about how do we look and feel our best at any age. And so we've created a topical skincare line to address the common issues that people have as they age, because like you, we also really care about people being able to gracefully age. And so we've created a C60 Youth Renewal Eye Cream,
Mhm.
which has not only C60 and some very, other powerful ingredients, but copper peptides. And it's specifically designed to address the very delicate skin around the eyes, and to deal with this common issue that many people have as they age, which is the under eye circles. I have them myself, the dark puffiness. And then a C60 anti-gravity serum, which is designed, both of them are designed to work into your existing skincare protocol, but just supplement it. But the anti-gravity serum is really intended to help with the luminosity, the youthfulness, the vibrant look of the skin itself. And for any of your male listeners out there, when I say this, I'm talking about my business partner, Ken. I'm talking about my husband. I'm talking about my brothers, many men that I know. The thought about having a very intense skincare protocol is just not something that they want to do. They want it simple, easy,
Right.
clear, to the point. And so these two products are great if you don't have a protocol already, just to start with. The
Right.
serum in the morning, eye cream in the morning, and you can also, have a little bit around the area of the lips where you get tiny micro lines.
Right.
The eye cream works there really well too.
I'm so happy you're talking about this, Jess. One, I'm a great testimonial for you because I've been using the product now for since I met Chaz at RadFest. So that's since September, and I just ran out actually, but I used it very, very sparingly, so I was able to make it last from September until February. Uh, but I did exactly what you said. I put it a little bit right around the eyes, then a little bit around the lips and the eye cream, and then the serum I would just slather over the rest of my face and neck. So I can vouch for the products, everybody, because they do work. And then you can use it, like Jess just said, you can use it with your other skincare. So I was using niacinamide and zinc and vitamin C and all, but I knew I was getting the copper peptide, so I didn't have to add copper. And copper, by the way, is great for healing in case you have some kind of a little breakout or a cut or anything like that. So the CHK product that you can inject is also good to combine with this if you want to, but you don't have to. So thank you for addressing the skincare, because a lot of I actually have male friends who do a real skincare regime as they've gotten a little bit older. But you're right, most men just want something real simple, like just don't even think about it, right?
Yeah. And the nice thing about it, it's especially for it's simple for women too, because Michele, we met at a conference,
Right.
and when you're packing, you're getting ready to go, you're busy, you're traveling. Sometimes it can be overwhelming to think, like, what are all the things I'm gonna bring
Right.
for the next 3 days or 5 days?
Right.
And oftentimes I won't take my entire skincare stack. I'll just
Right.
pack these two because it's simple and easy and I don't have to think about it. And so that's the really nice thing. They work well, weaving them into your existing protocol.
And you can keep, I think they're under 4 ounces. They're right, 2 ounces each. So you can put them, I only carry on. So I just
Yep.
stuck them in my carry on and no problem with TSA. So you're absolutely right. They're very easy to transport. I did get one of the bigger bottles. What is that one called? The
We
bigger,
have C60 Skin,
yeah.
and then we have a C60 Sexy, which is a edible massage oil. C60 Skin is really nice. It comes in a big bottle. This one's 3 ounces, so
Mm.
you could carry this on. The other ones are 1 ounce.
Oh, wow.
So those are very easy to carry on.
Yeah.
But we have this in a roller ball too. So the really nice thing with C60 Skin is if you have a problem area, it could be dry, flaky skin, some
Yeah.
issue where you have a wound where it won't heal, something that you keep picking at or something that's bothering you.
Yeah.
C60 Skin is really great to apply topically to promote healing. And if you have even if you have a bug bite that's itchy, you can apply it on there, and you should notice that the itch sensation goes away in a short amount of time. It's also really great to apply after too much sun. As I mentioned earlier, I'm fair, and I kind of have a bad habit. Sometimes I'll be out in my garden working on something and I forget how long I'm in the sun, and then I come in and I'm a little bit too pink. If I'm
Yeah.
afraid I'm going to burn, I apply it topically. It soaks into the skin really nicely, and in a very short amount of time, 9 times out of 10, I've prevented a peeling situation, because C60 is going to go ahead and neutralize that oxidative stress that you got from too much exposure. Sun exposure is great, but 20, 30 minutes a day is the sufficient amount to get, the vitamin D activation that we
Yeah.
need.
And I tell everybody, you don't wear sunscreen for that 20 or 30 minutes because you're blocking the D3 from getting into the skin. So coming back in and putting some of your product right on there, even though 20 or 30 minutes, most people won't burn in that time, but people like you could. And how about the melanin, the brown spots that you mentioned earlier that come from, the AGES, right? From the mostly from the sun or even from the liver. They say they call them liver spots. But how does the product affect or eliminate or at least diminish some of the melanin production?
See a lessening. For me personally, until they're all gone, I'm
I'm
gonna keep working on a cure for it, or a solution. I shouldn't use the word cure. That's a problem. But I want to be, since I've said it, C60 doesn't cure or mitigate or prevent any disease. What it does do is it helps neutralize that oxidative stress and
yeah,
that inflammation, which can contribute to those diseases kicking on. And the cool thing is, I apologize, my internet was acting a little bit squirrely when you were talking about the DNA test that you did, so I had some
yeah.
breakup on my end. But
Oh,
I love that you've interviewed, Tracy Wood from the DNA company. She's a good friend of mine,
yeah,
actually. And I love the work that they're doing, because to what you said earlier, when you understand, your genetic makeup, what you've inherited from your parents, and you understand the diseases that you're predisposed to, but you're very intentional about your lifestyle choices, you can get in front of all those things. Those diseases don't have to turn on just because you've inherited them.
yeah,
If your lifestyle is one where you're focused on, clean living, and you're regularly detoxing, and you're taking care of your body, and you're focused on your gut health, and you're eating clean, and you're getting exercise and sleep and water and proper sunshine, um, we don't have to have the fate of disease. We can sidestep disease,
right.
and it's really important to do that. So that's the exciting time about where we're at right now in our life and on the planet right now. There's going to be so many new inventions and discoveries coming out in this space to help people with longevity. And the reality is, most people on the planet have not heard about C60. We are in the pre-early adapter phase,
Right,
even though it was discovered in the mid 80s, even though it's been nearly 20 years since the scientist who discovered it won a Nobel Prize.
right,
Most people do not know about it. So Michele, you are 100% on like the leading edge
right.
of the tip of the spear of all things longevity and wellness, because most people do not know about it.
It's interesting that you say that because one of the questions that I have all these burning questions for you, but one of them was, why is it that everybody I've asked has never heard of C60 until I ask them and tell them what it is? So, what do you think is the information gap that has caused 20 years to pass since, and a Nobel Prize is not an insignificant award. So, why is it that more people haven't, like, they all know about vitamin A and E and all the antioxidants, but not C60? So, obviously, you have a mission that's very clear to get the word out and get people to understand its benefits, its amazing benefits. But what do you think has held back the information from getting to the consumer, that it's not just like an ABC of your
Yeah.
supplement regimen?
I think there's a few things. Number one, there's a lot of noise, right? Like how do you get a fairly complex and, dense concept out into the mainstream? Most people, self included, don't have a very, robust background in chemistry. So if you're going to talk about something that's novel and new, uh, most scientists know about C60. The nickname for this molecule is a buckyball. Most scientists know that. But
Is that because of Buckminster Fuller and
yeah,
yeah, and his
yep.
influence at the very beginning?
Yeah, so he had theorized that it must exist, and he was the inventor of geodesic domes,
Yeah,
another real estate person.
right,
And so the scientists named it after him in honor of his visioning around it. He didn't know that it would exist or when it would discover. He just thought that it would. And how does he know that? I don't know, but it's a fun little nod towards him. But like with anything in life, if it works, it's probably going to be suppressed.
mm, yeah,
So there's a fair amount of suppression. There's a fair amount of, I would say, larger agendas to kind of keep the message down. There's a bit of that. We also, in the industry at large, there's some challenges because similar to what happened with CBD.
yeah,
15 years ago, people wouldn't know about it, and then
right,
parents got the idea. Gosh, maybe it can help with seizures.
right,
Maybe it's going to be beneficial to my dog or my kid who's struggling with seizures. And now today, you can find it in a gas station, pretty
right,
much anywhere in America.
right.
But as you might recall, as people started to learn about it, there was like influx of all these people. I'll call it, like, they think it's a gold rush. They want to get in this space.
Right,
Their intention is not to produce the best product. Their
right,
intention is to make some money.
right.
So we're challenged with in getting the good word out is that there's a fair amount of people that are selling product either with there's no C60 in it,
Right.
or subpar C60, or C60 that's not actually safe or good or shouldn't be used. And then that that's a challenge, because if let's say a person tries it, but they buy a product that there's just activated charcoal in it, not even C60, they don't have the experience that they expected, they're going to write it off permanently.
There's
And
a lot of charlatans. It's
yeah,
the story of imitation is the best form of flattery, but in this case, no, imitation is actually a causative for um, diminished acceptance, because there's too many people that get burned by choosing the wrong product. So I'm glad you're bringing this up, because it was another area I wanted to get into. What is it about C60 that makes it the most efficacious? And the three carrier oils, of course, I want you to talk about in conjunction with that, and why they are the ones that you selected, and what makes them the best ones, and also what differentiates MCT coconut oil from olive oil from avocado oil. So get into the issue of, I know you have like 99% of your product, 99.5, right, percent is the molecule. Is
you're going to have to, for your audience out there, the thing to really look for is just, is quality, regardless of what type of product you buy from
Yeah,
anybody anywhere. We utilize third party testing.
yeah, GM,
Some people have said, why don't you test it yourself? Well, to me, that's like counting your own votes.
yeah, of course.
Okay. I don't want to test something that I created. I want somebody else, a third party lab, to test it, poke holes in it, and come back to me and tell me if there's anything wrong. I want a third party who's not me to monkey with that, because if somebody was in-house monkeying with the results, that would be a problem. So first of all, you want to look for third party testing. The next thing is you want to look for 99.99% pure C60. We use sublimated C60, which is a different process. I would liken it to evaporation in the lab, where there's no toxic solvents involved. Some groups use that and then they bake it off. We don't do that. So it's more expensive to manufacture. So you want to look for that, and then you want to make sure that it's in a healthy carrier oil. Now, I've had people at conferences come up to me and they've said, "Oh, hey, I've got C60 in this vape." You know, there's groups that are saying, "Oh, it's, you know, you could put it in this and you can inhale it," or this is wrong. This is you can't. So if somebody's selling you a product that you're going to inhale into your lungs, I would say, you know, buyer beware. Like beware. But you want to make sure that you're consuming oils that are healthy. There's a fair amount of information. I'm so excited about this because I think this is a game changer for people, is to stop consuming seed oils or vegetable oils. And this is very hard if you're traveling, if you go out to eat a lot, if you're a foodie. You know, every restaurant that you go to, 9 times out of 10, they're going to use canola, or they'll say, "We use olive oil, but it's a blend with canola in it." And you're like, "Man, don't do that," you know, because we want to be fighting inflammation. We want to be eating anti-inflammatory foods. So the reason why we have C60 delivered in a carrier oil, I'm holding up a big bottle of organic MCT coconut oil here, is that it needs to be dissolved fully into an oil. And so the MCT coconut oil is a really great choice for athletes. You can get, you know, ketones from it, and I personally love it in my coffee. That being said, it's a medium chain triglyceride, and the oil itself holds a little bit less C60 than avocado oil and olive oil because of the structure. Now, you might be like, "Oh, well, then I probably need to take more." Then you can if you want, but C60 is good. You can get a spoonful of MCT oil or a spoonful of avocado oil. Sorry, I have a green screen, so this isn't going to show up so well.
Yeah, I see.
Because it's green.
Yeah.
But avocado oil is wonderful for people who are new to C60, who might not be used to consuming healthy oils. It's the easiest one to digest. So if you have any gut health issues that you're dealing with and you're working through, the avocado oil is the easiest. And then we have it in a really delicious peppery extra virgin olive oil as well. I really love this extra virgin olive oil if I'm intermittent fasting. If I break my fast, let's say at lunch or maybe 3 o'clock, and I have, you know, a salad with some veggies and some protein on it, I will drizzle this on my salad. And I don't know if I've told you this, Michelle. I don't think that I have. My husband has Lyme disease. And so we've been on a detox and wellness journey for several years, really to try to mitigate any type of Lyme flare-up. And so that has us both on a very strict diet of, you know, clean, lean proteins and oxalate, low oxalate vegetables. And I have gotten to the point where I really only just use our olive oil, and I make my own salad dressings with it. I need very, very little dressing to doll something up. But we also have a cinnamon flavored made with organic cinnamon isolates, MCT coconut oil. So this is amazing in coffee in the morning. You can just leave this by your coffee pot. And with any of these oils, Michelle, all you do is you just have a spoonful of it in the morning. You can take it with or without food. You can put it in a coffee, tea, smoothie. You know, a lot of people now are starting to understand a little bit about hydrogen water. which is also an antioxidant. And you can take C60 with your hydrogen water, whether it's out of a can, or you can take a hydrogen water pill and drink your C60 at the same time. The two are kind of like peanut butter and chocolate. They go really well together, and that hydrogen water can help kind of supercharge your C60 experience. You can also get the same type of experience if you take C60 at the same time that you're eating an apple, which is kind of like a another little hack that you can do. And what I like to do is oil in the morning before my other supplements, and then I take my other supplements. And then in the afternoon, if it's 2, 3 o'clock, if I start to feel a little bit of a lull in energy, or I need, maybe I have dinner plans at 6 or 7 and it's going to be a while if I get hungry, I'll have a C60 gummy. These are made with whole coconut oil. I'm under the impression that you've had a few of these.
Yeah,
And I think they're pretty tasty. We've got a sugar-free and a regular version, which the regular just has 3 grams of sugar. So it won't wreck your day if you have one.
Jess, those have been my savior because I travel a lot, and I'm just letting everybody know you shouldn't be without those because, one, they give you an energy boost. 2, there's no sugar if you buy the SF version, right, that you just talked about. And they taste really, really good. I mean, sometimes you want a little sweet something and you don't want to eat a sweet, a lot of sugar in it. So this is a real great, a very good substitute. Plus you're getting all your C60 in one really good flavorful dose. So I love that. And your wonderful assistant, Davina, has just sent me, she's sending me a couple of boxes. So I'm going to be good until I hope for a couple of months here, because I do try to take about one a day, even when I'm home, like you just said. Even if I'm not traveling, I'll do the oils in the morning, just like you said, and then one in the afternoon gives you that little boost. I had a question on you have a dropper in one of the ones, I think it's the MCT, the small one. It has a dropper bottle, but the other ones do not, the bigger ones. Is it okay if you take the dropper bottle, the dropper apparatus, and just put that into the other ones and just take 2 of those? Is that equal to about a teaspoon? I've never actually dosed it, but the dropper bottle is really convenient, and it's in the MCT only, in the small one.
All of our flavors come with the 2-ounce bottle. These were intentionally designed for travel. So to your point, they're intentionally designed for travel. The problem is if somebody buys just this bottle and they think that this is enough to experience it, the reality is you really need to try C60 for about 30 days. Yeah. Daily in order to get there. You need a little bit more than a dropper. You need about 2 to get your full serving. And this is about a week and a half, 2 weeks serving size. Yeah. The 4-ounce bottle, which is this size, is closer to a month. The 8-ounce bottle is, if you were going to try the product and you wanted to know, does it work for me? Get the 8-ounce bottle, give it at least that whole bottle opportunity to get through it to make sure it works. The other thing I'll say too, Michele, is that the gummies, they're great for travel. When you're getting exposure to radiation from laptop, cell phone, you go through the scanner at the airport. I always opt out and just say no thanks or go through pre-check. But you're having radiation exposure on the airplane too. The high, elevations, 30,000 feet, wherever we're flying. It's really important to, pack some gummies in your bag so you can neutralize that oxidative stress. We also have a 16-ounce bottle, which is larger. So if you're somebody who wants to, have enough of a supply for 3 months, the 16-ounce bottle is most appropriate for that.
That's what I have, the big one. And I just take the little one, the dropper, and I put it into the big one. And that way I take a couple of droppers full, but of the different oils. So I get, all 3 oils in one day. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I try to, mix it up. Or I'll do, the olive oil one day and the avocado the next day and the MCT another day. So they're staggered, but it doesn't seem to matter what carrier oil you're using, although you said earlier the MCT has less of the C60 in it. but it's also good for athletes, and I'm an athlete, so I like to use it that way as well. Um,
Flavor choice. You know, it's like what's your preference? But to your point, you use all three. I use all three different times. You know,
yeah,
I really like the coconut in my coffee.
yeah,
If I feel like I'm getting a tickle in my throat, if I'm, you know, coming off of a, you know, an experience where I've been around a lot of people traveling, um, and I just want to, you know, boost my immune system, I'm going to take a couple spoonfuls of the avocado oil. And like I said, I love the olive oil with food. In Michelle, and if you want to see the third party testing when you
yeah,
get our products,
yeah.
you can just scan the QR code and it'll go to the test that is connected to your particular product. So you can always see that. So you're going to want to make sure that it's high quality. Check out the websites. Like, can
Yeah,
you figure out who owns the company? Who's behind it? If
right.
it's just like a bunch of blanketed, you know, AI written copy and you can't figure out who's connected to the company, it's probably an indication that they may or may not know what they're doing. But you're gonna want to just keep your eyes open, and you always want to have it in a healthy oil. Do not buy any type of C60 in sunflower oil. Like
Uh,
if somebody's selling that, just walk away. But look for third party testing. I think that's really important.
yeah. So people who order their supplements on Amazon, they need to be really buyer beware because there are many counterfeit companies that are selling under. They would even have your label copied and look like they're you, and yet
You're bringing that.
so first of all, that GMP, the the insignia on a bottle is crucial. I won't buy a bottle of anything unless it has the GMP icon. And,
Yeah.
and then secondly, on Amazon, if I am going to order there, I go to make sure they have a website that goes right to the company. So this is just a buyer beware to everybody. Don't just buy a product because it says the company name. It could be a counterfeit, right? And actually, my good friend at Calroy, I don't know if you know Ed Hoyt, but we were on the phone the other day, and Calroy is a cardiovascular supplement company, and he was telling me they have purchased a special um, service on Amazon that protects them. And he said it's just pretty expensive, but he said that's the way they eliminate any counterfeits. Because they did have a number of people that made a product that looked just like them. It's amazing.
It's a wild space to be in because the amount of people, whether in e-commerce or you want to call it supplements, it's literally the Wild West. The amount of people that operate out of integrity is more common than not. So, yeah, buyer beware. Do your due diligence. Do your homework.
Right. So I had another question for you. We talked about the glutathione. What are the other antioxidants that you consider to be the partners for C60 in terms of eliminating ROS, oxidative stress?
Well, that's a good question. I really kind of consider C60 to be a gateway antioxidant, honestly, because most people don't know what an antioxidant is. So, you know, I, the thing is with C60, it's just the most powerful because it can reset itself again and again, and
Mhm.
it's hundreds of times more powerful than like a vitamin C. And the thing, as I mentioned before, that kind of differentiates it is that there's no toxicity at any level. So if you took an extreme amount of vitamin E, you could really hurt yourself. You
Mhm.
could die. You know, that's not going to happen with C60. Now, if you drank, half of this bottle of MCT, you were going to probably have disaster pants
Yeah,
because of the oil, but
yeah,
it's not because of the C60, and it's certainly not going to kill you. So in terms of the partner antioxidants, glutathione, SOD, catalase, CoQ10, those are all important. When we're thinking about, vitamins and other supplements that are important to intake, we've all learned through the last few years, D3, K2 together, a balanced zinc. These are really important just to keep your immune system strong. Making sure your magnesium level
mhm,
is high and balanced and appropriate. And the way that you would know this is by testing. You've got to have a provider that you're working with that understands what your goals are for your own health journey. As I mentioned before, my husband is, working through a Lyme disease situation. And so making sure that he's not having any kind of upset is important for us. For me personally, at age 48, for the last few years, I've been navigating through the fun experience of all things perimenopause. And we've also been on a fertility journey, which has been interesting late in life. So, it's really just important for you to have clarity around, like, what are your primary goals, what are you trying to accomplish, but working with a provider who can help you test regularly, and also somebody who understands how to help support you with your hormonal journey, because as we age, and anytime we're over the age of 40, we're gonna start running into some challenges. And I'm not about to give advice because I'm not a doctor and that's not what I'm here to do. But I would definitely say, just from my own experience, that having a provider, functional medicine provider, who understands you, is aligned with you, and can help you as you navigate that is great. It's really important, because we all deserve to feel good. We all deserve to have enough energy, and we all have an important mission on this planet. And the world needs us more than ever. And so it's our personal responsibility to take back control of our health. It's our personal responsibility to do research on all the things that we're consuming, and to make decisions as consumers around products that are going to be supportive to our lifespan and the quality of our life, so we can continue to do that and enjoy as much joy and happiness on the planet as that we're willing to take on, and to co-create with our friends and our family.
That is so beautifully said. But the body, mind, spirit, I mean, if you think of it as that triumvirate of those three, and how do you get to that level of homeostasis, of feeling really, like, as Dr. Amy Horniman said when she was on my podcast. I don't know if you know her, but she's the thyroid.
She's one of my best friends.
Oh my gosh, we have so many people in common. This is wonderful, Jess. Well, Amy said the biggest question, or the biggest test, is how do you feel? Mm-hmm. And you don't even, I mean, you can go to a functional medicine doctor, and absolutely you should have that doctor as your partner in your healthcare journey. Because you're not a medical, you or I or any of the people listening today are probably not medical doctors. They're consumers, and they're wanting to have the best answer. So you do need a partner in that, for sure, who has been trained. And but one of the things that I thought was so cool when she said it was, you can go do all the lab tests you want, but lab tests don't always tell you everything you need to know. You can get a normal thyroid test result and still feel crappy because you're losing your hair, or you have cold hands and feet, or all, whatever the Hashimoto's symptoms are that are so prevalent among so many people, but it's so underdiagnosed. So your point is really well taken. And you and I, both being slow methylators, or at least knowing that we have challenges genetically, don't even need to go to a test to tell us. We know we have to be diligent about using products like C60 to eliminate oxidative stress. And if you ask how you feel, well, you're going to feel heck of a lot better when doing that than if you don't do it. So that's, the litmus test is, how do you feel?
Exactly.
Just question quickly, has your husband been able to handle and overcome the Lyme's by the protocol you've been doing?
Knock on wood, we are at about 6 months right now where he hasn't had a flare up. So we're kind of considering this remission. For many, many years, we didn't know what it was. It would affect his ocular nerve, so he could lose his vision. And that's what would happen. He would lose his vision for a period of time. So that's a terrifying experience for anybody to go through, and especially when you don't know what it actually is. But now we have clarity around it, and we're working on it. The one thing I would say, Michele, too, that we haven't talked about that I think is important just in general on the detox journey is, like, working to get your heavy metals out, but it's also really going after parasites. So working with somebody that understands that. In my own life, I've had to fire doctor after doctor because I would come in with questions or ideas or insights, and unfortunately sometimes once they graduate, they're not going to try to keep up, and they're not necessarily going to try to be offering you solutions that don't come with a prescription. And I'm just in the camp my whole life I've been where I want a natural solution, and I've spent most of my time trying to figure that out. And so I will say I've upset some doctors in the past because
Well,
of my own knowledge and research, and then they don't want to support that. But it's important to find somebody who will align with you and wants to help you move forward. There's plenty of people out there. You might just have to do some digging to get there, though.
I'm always shocked at how few doctors ask you to do heavy metals detox or chelation, just using IVs or chelation therapy to get rid of them. But there are other ways you can do it too. And certainly, I eat cilantro all the time now because I know that it's just a food-based way to minimize, or at least maybe even reduce or eliminate. Probably not eliminate, because it's probably not as strong as you need to get in the chelation process. But heavy metals, and then the EMFs and the parasites and all those toxicities that we're surrounded with in our even our water, and buying grass-fed beef, for example, because you don't want to be eating all those horrible nutrients that they feed the cows to make them fatter. So all of that stuff is all about the big umbrella of detox. And of course, you fit really prominently in that umbrella, but you need to do all these other things to be partners with what you're doing with C60. Well, they just, go ahead. You want to say something?
No, C60, it's an antioxidant. It's not a drug. Mm-hmm. And it is a very powerful antioxidant, but it's not the only thing. And so people will often say, like, wow, can I stop taking everything else? No, number one, get it, work with your healthcare provider. That's the first thing, and talk to them about it. Come up with your own plan, use your own brain. But it's not the only thing to do. It's do C60 and do these other things. But C60 is going to help support and supercharge your journey, especially if you're doing lifestyle choices. The other thing, Michelle, people oftentimes that they'll say, oh, it's too expensive. Well, what we found with people, it's so expensive because that's the cost that it is to manufacture it. It's extremely expensive to manufacture. And that is a barrier for some people, for sure. But what we found is for the people that feel like it's cost prohibitive, once they have a good experience with it, they figure it out. They're like, well, maybe I'm just going to quit my Starbucks addiction. Maybe I'll stop buying, $6 coffees every day, and I'll figure out how to afford C60. Mm-hmm. So if you want it, if you end up, if energy, if fatigue is an issue for you, and you are like, I need some energy, I need some motivation, I need some mental clarity, I don't remember where I just put my car keys, you're probably a good person, a good candidate to utilize and appreciate C60. If you're somebody who drinks alcohol every day and you eat fast food every day, this is not the thing for you, because you really need to be on the path for understanding what kind of lifestyle you want to be living. Okay.
Oh, they just flagged me that it's time to close. Oh my gosh, it went by so fast, Jess. I'm so happy that some people, you just can talk forever, and that's you. That's you and me. So thank you so much. I did want to, before we go, I did want to make sure people know how to order the product. So can you give us a quickie on that one? How they can get the product? And
I know.
Use the Ageless code.
We've got a website link that we're going to share with you, so you can put it in your show notes, Michelle. But if you don't have Michelle's link, you can just go to shopc60.com, and when you check out, you can use the coupon code Ageless10. Ageless10 at shopc60.com, and you can try C60 for 10% off your first order.
Perfect. That's exactly what I needed. Well, Jess, thank you so much. I'm really hoping your husband gets better. I hate it when I hear with people dealing with health challenges, and we all have our little, but that's a big one. That's a really big one. So, well, best of luck to you. And are you going to be are you going to West Palm Beach in April?
Yeah, I will. Let's hang out there.
Yeah, I'll come find you. All right.